Hello and welcome back. So I was planning to do this for a while now. I do play the game for like I think almost a full year now, and I did change a lot since I started to record this, and I do want to bring the first couple chapters into the same quality that I record the current ones, and well, I decided to pretty much remake the chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4, and potentially chapter 5. So this will be the first chapter. Now, of course, it will include everything, the full story, the full dialogues, and pretty much everything will be included, just like the normal chapter. It will be just remade into the current high quality that I use. Since I remember back when I started to record this game, maybe I think it was back at August of last year, where I pretty much started to record the game for the first time. I was using pretty much a different software, different hardware, and the hardware and software that I currently use are top notch, and uh, I I do want to remake it to be in the same quality as the recent chapters, for your viewing pleasure, of course. And well, the first chapter pretty much brought me into the game, and the first chapter did make a big impact on me, and it did have a big impact on a lot of other players, especially since when I started to play this for the first time, I was really impressed by the amount of detail that they did put into the game, and of course the detail that was put into the story. I was quite impressed back in the day, and of course, back in the day, this game was and still is, by the way, one of the highest graphical games on mobile. And as such, the game does bring a lot. And of course, the art style in the cutscenes is something that is unique so far. The art style, so far, I can say it is very serious, as you can see here. And I did notice right now, like for the first time, that she has a huge slash over her belly, and ouch, that looks painful. And she is impaled by an arrow on her hand, also something that I noticed for the first time here. And overall, the enemy design is also something that I was really looking forward to in this game when I first started it. And of course, the map design, as you will see that they did actually go all out in the graphical design and the map design in this game early on, especially for the first chapter, as you will see here. And the first chapter is also really important because it pretty much will make us it will make everything known, and pretty much the first chapter is the chapter that will bring a lot of new players to the game. And of course, you will see. Oh, there we go. That is a very good picture, and it will be very difficult for me to choose a thumbnail for this. I don't know which thumbnail should I go for, since the first chapter has a lot of cutscenes, and all of them are very good. But we'll see. I mean, you will see which cutscene I'll use for the thumbnail, since of course you will see the video and the cutscene. Okay, and of course, it is also important storyline for the Ascendants, since this is the first time we meet Alpha, that you will see later on that will happen. And early on, I have to say, Alpha is she was a very anticipated character from the start, and I think people were asking for her for a very long time, and they did give her pretty much in the first official event of the game. And of course, this is the original clone Lucia, the one that got reset in the latest chapters. So the feels are going to be real, because people are definitely going to be waiting for the character to be released, and of course they're going to wait for the character to be obtained. But anyway, let's see what will happen here. Now, I was expecting. I didn't expect much from the game and from the developers back when I pretty much played the game for the first time, and I was very much blown away when I noticed what they all did do for the game and for the players ever since then. and they definitely did progress a lot when we compare the first initial launch date and when we look at pretty much today what's going on. They definitely did improve a lot, and they definitely did change a lot, and of course they did improve the game also a lot, and it will and we will see what will happen in the next official story chapter. Since I do expect a lot from the story, I do expect a lot of cutscenes, and in the side story that is currently up, the cutscenes were really good, and the story in the last event that's also currently going on is also very good and very interesting. And I do recommend that everyone plays out the new story, since it is very good. It is actually very good. Now here, for the first time, that's something that I did not notice. The person on the right, that is the commander, by the way. At first, I thought that was Lee, but it is not Lee. It is the commander, since the commander and Lucia were pretty much soloing the boss here. Pretty much they're trying to solo Alpha here, but that did not. Well, you'll see what will happen. And this is Alpha. Pretty much, even to this day, people's favorite character. She did also get a swimsuit recently, and that swimsuit looking really good. I think people are buying it a lot, and this looks painful as well. She did impale Lucia on that wall over there, and the commander is next to get destroyed. It is very interesting that it is because of Alpha that commander is dependent on the stamina, because Alpha gave him Alpha literally did hit him, and because of that he also got pretty much messed up like Lucia. But of course, Lucia being a structure pretty much doesn't have that much problems than Commander, who is a human, and because of this fight he does have problems even to this very day. Okay, and this is where people I think started to love Alpha, because this is pretty much to this day the most favorite character that's universally liked in the game, and she is still very powerful, the most powerful physical character in the game. There are elemental structures and there are physical ones, but Alpha, as a structure on her own, is also very good and very powerful, and to this day also holds her ground in a lot of game modes, since even to this day, even like I think it's been 9 months, 10 months since the game's release, she is still counted as a top tier structure, and of course nothing got nerfed. If they change anything, they pretty much buffed weak units, and so far I wasn't aware of any nerfing going on in the game, so pretty much all structures are pretty much the same as when they were released for the first time, so that's a big plus for me. And well, looks like all of them are still alive and well. Well, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Okay. Well then, progressing in the first chapter of the game, I have to say, though, they definitely did do a lot of work early on for the game, since I see the same like aesthetics being used, and also I noticed a lot more effort in the recent chapters, since back when the game was first launched, they didn't have any 3D rendered cutscenes. But now we did get, and we still are getting more and more cutscenes with each update. And of course, that's including the 3D rendered cutscenes, which I like a lot. And again, I can speculate that in the future, in the very near future, that most of the game will have a 3D rendered animation. Pretty much you will have most of the story 3D animated, which I think will be very good. and I do expect them to rework the first early on chapters. I really do expect them to rework the first early on chapters because I think the Alpha versus Lucia fight deserves a 3D rendered animation, and I think people will like that a lot. I think that would be actually very interesting to see how it will work, and of course, from the commander's perspective, since that's usually how the cutscenes in this game work. They are usually from your own perspective, which I think is very good, and I do like that a lot. Now, when I played this also for the first time, I was playing the game on my old S6 Edge. Unfortunately, that phone died some time ago. It died 2 months ago, I think. And I did play this game and record this game on that phone early on, and it did do a good job uh, at running the game. It actually did a very good job at running the game, since that phone is at the current moment 5 years old. It was 4 years old when I played the game on it, so it did do a very good job at running the game on 1440p. And when the time comes, hopefully very soon, I will repair that phone, since parts are currently really hard to find. But when I get the parts, I'll definitely repair the device, and I'll continue using it for various things. But gaming, since I do have this phone that I currently use, and and this current phone that I use is very powerful, and I use it for games pretty much. And well, I will use it for games, while the S6 will probably be used for something else that doesn't require that much processing power. But well, I first need to get parts. Without parts, there is no repair, so that will take a while. Well, hopefully it will not take a while, but we'll see. Well then, um, there are multiple. I did notice multiple classes of structures in this game, which I think is very interesting. You have the lower tier structures, and you have the higher tier structures, and then you have R structures, which are somewhere in the middle, I think. And you can also, I don't know if they can progress. Hopefully they can progress. We will see. There is still more. There is still more to be found in the game, and there is still a lot more to be discovered in the game. Well then, let's go and let's continue into the first chapter. Now, the first boss here, as you will later see, is a boss that's also very common in the game, and it is a boss that you will face a lot. It is not a difficult boss, and it is pretty much counted as the easiest boss in the game, which I guess it is kind of true, since the boss is indeed easy. But again, we will see what will happen. Maybe the boss was buffed. I don't know. I kind of don't remember the first chapter a lot. I think they did change it a lot, actually, when I think about it. I think they did change the map a lot, or maybe they just changed the graphics, since they did improve the graphics ever since the release. They did add a lot of new effects, and the game still runs very smooth. Now, of course, since currently where I live it is summer, it is very hot, it gets to 40 degrees very easily. There is probably some thermal throttling going on my phone, which again is fine. It is fine, since the phone is running 1080p HDR, so pretty much I do expect it to get warm. And of course, since it is kind of extreme temperature here, I also am not surprised by thermal throttling, because it is indeed very hot here. But it is doing a very good job so far, and I cannot complain about that at all. Okay, well, let's see. I have to kill these. Well, that was very fast. Now, of course, you have to keep in mind I am level 93, 94 almost, and my structures are pretty much geared out, and they are very powerful, and well, it is no big surprise that I can kill them this fast. Okay, let's go to the next stage. Now you will notice a lot of dialogue in the game, and Like I said, the Taiwanese, Japanese versions are pretty much coming up in, well, maybe even couple days from now on. And after that, they will be working on the global version of the game. And having the Taiwanese and Japanese version of the game already out will bring the global version of the game a lot faster. And like I said, there are rumors that the global version will arrive at around November. Then there are rumors that they will arrive at around December. And of course, the more realistic approach, early 2021, maybe January, February, or even March of 2021, when they will release the global version of the game. But currently, everything that is just rumors, and we will see what will happen. I of course will pay good attention to what's going on, and I will definitely inform you if I'll definitely inform you when they announce the global version of the game, since I am also very much curious about the global version. And I do wanna play it as well, since it will make the story being accessible to everyone, and of course, everyone will understand the story. Okay, well that was quick. Again, again, I am pretty much high leveled, and my structures are really leveled up, and that's why I can kill them. That's why I can kill them very quickly. Okay, on to the next stage, not on the next chapter. I almost made a mistake. Okay, and also you'll notice the chapters will get progressively longer and longer. And I think the latest chapter, chapter 12, I think it took me 2 recordings to finish it, since it was that much long. It is very long, actually. It is very long, and it took me, I think, 1.5 hours to complete it. And of course, the recent event is also very long, and it also took me, I think it's 3 or 4 videos long, and I did record it for like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. So it is indeed very long. And this is one of the prettier maps. This is where they pretty much show what they can do, since this map is one of those. When I saw the map for the first time on a 1440p display, I was really impressed to see such high quality graphics on a mobile game. And they still look very good, and I do still like the design of such maps. Well, maybe I should have went with a 1440p HDR panel for this phone. Maybe the game would look and run still very smooth. Oh well, I guess there is always the next time for that. Well, the connection got cut there. That's interesting. Well, let's see what will happen. I'm very curious to remind myself on what was happening in the early on stages in the game. Alright, now these structures that you can see are also pretty much structures. They're also mostly human. They're pretty much a fusion between those two, I think. And they have both human, but at the same time they have both machine parts in them. So they're pretty much cyborgs, not androids, but pretty much a combination of flesh and machine, which is very interesting. It is a very interesting concept that is pretty much debatable today. And of course, this is that will be the main boss of the chapter here, and you will see me fighting that boss later on in a couple minutes, should I say. And that boss is going to be one of the most common bosses in the game, and of course is part of the boss trio in the game. In the pain cage, in Warzone, in the event stages, you will pretty much see this boss being thrown. You will see this boss being thrown from time to time, and it is a very interesting boss to fight. I'll say that, and it is, like I said, one of the easiest bosses to fight. And the bosses later on are progressively going to be harder and harder. And of course, you will reach to the point where the bosses are going to be challenging, and the hard and not the hard but the hidden mode will have more challenge in terms of boss battles and overall stages, since the hidden stages are definitely a lot more challenging than the normal ones. Even the normal ones are getting very difficult later on, and you will definitely have to be skillful at the game to complete them in time, of course. Okay, that was interesting. Let me quickly kill those. Now you have to pretty much chase him from start to finish, and you will have to kill all of these enemies in the meantime. They're not that difficult. You will pretty much kill them very quickly. And after you reach him, he will pretty much run away. The boss, of course. Alright, let's go to the next chapter. Not next chapter, next area. And let's see. Now, the next bosses are going to be very interesting, and of course, the latest event stories. And one of the character stories is also bound to the second chapter, as you might already know. And I think that's very interesting. And more of these, of course, more of the newer characters might have bound character stories to the older chapters, and I think that's a really interesting way of introducing new characters, since they are going to have weight immediately upon being launched, and people might like them more that way. The current new characters, Vera and S. Kamui, are pretty much really good characters. I am in the process of obtaining Vera. I think I'm already halfway in obtaining the character, so another 5 days or so, and I should have the character. And again, I can't wait to play that character. That character appears to be very interesting. And of course, I am saving up for the next S class. Since Vera is already farmable, I'll just farm her until I get the character, then I just farm her fragments until I have her S, double S, and triple S class. Okay, well, Alpha pretty much killing them really quickly here. I mean, I think I should use Lucia for this, but I did choose with Alpha. I did went with Alpha because I know people like to watch Alpha. I know people really like to see Alpha being played, and I like to play her a lot, so I will play her. Okay, on to the next stage. And let's see what this one will have to offer. This looks like it will have a cutscene. Alright, interesting. Let's see what the cutscene will be all about. I am very curious to see what the cutscene will offer. I did forget pretty much most of the cutscenes, although I do remember what was going on, and I do remember the plot, but I don't remember all the cutscenes. I know that there are some really good cutscenes, so let's see what they have to offer. Maybe they even change them, I don't know. We will find out, I guess, in a moment. Now, you have to know something about their world. Their world has been pretty much destroyed. Their world is pretty much in a state of apocalypse, at least the planet. They are living on a station called Eden that's pretty much in the orbit, and the station moves from Earth orbit to Moon orbit. It pretty much depends on their needs. When they have operations, they move the station from the orbit of the Moon to the orbit of the home planet. And I mean, I have a better solution for them. They can just move to Mars, or they can move to Titan, or they can move to Europa. Pretty much, those are all habitable moons in one way or another. I mean, if they have the technology to pretty much have cloaking devices, and if they can pretty much clone the consciousness of a human into a structure, then I think they already have interplanetary travel, and they can go on Mars, they can terraform Mars, they can make it habitable again. They can also go towards one of the moons that I did mention. Titan pretty much is like a frozen Earth. They just need to heat up the planet, and then all the biological processes needed to create life are there. They can also pretty much terraform that if they like, and they can pretty much live in the inner shells of Europa, which is a moon of Jupiter, which is made full of ice. It has a 100-kilometer thick ice sheet that that they can go through, and they can live in the warm ocean that's underneath the planet, that's being heated by the gravitational pulling from the other moons and Jupiter, since it is known that Europa has a ocean beneath the 100-kilometer deep ice sheet. And who knows, maybe there's life there. I mean, they can also terraform that planet if they like. It has the mass to contain an atmosphere. That's interesting. So I think they can create it, or at least they can create a atmosphere within the ice sheet underneath. So I think that's a good way to start for these characters to go and pretty much to uh, change home planet. I mean, that's one way to solve the problem, since I know that they do not want to live on the station for a very long time, and they can just travel to another planet and pretty much terraform it, or pretty much set up a settlement there, and that way they can live on a planet, not on a station. I mean, I think it's better to live on Mars than to live on a station. I know that there might be problems with the distance, but I think that they can pretty much travel interplanetary distances with ease. And I hope that the developers will have such an idea to do something like that, since I think that will be very interesting and very unique for the story if they decide to pretty much change planets. And I'm definitely going to enjoy that a lot. I will definitely enjoy that a lot. One of the games that I'm currently waiting for, Tower of Fantasy. That game also has the similar theme that humans did pretty much travel to another planet, and that they make a settlement over there, and that they want to live there. And as far as I know, that game might as well have interplanetary travel. Who knows? We will see. Since that game is already a open world, so there might be several planets to visit in that system. We will see. I am definitely excited for that game to come out, and I'm waiting for it. If you can check out the game's trailer. It's called Tower of Fantasy. It is currently in the pre-register phase, so that means the next phase is full release. And I don't know when they will release the game. I really hope that the release will happen in this month. I do wait for another game to be released in this month, and I'll definitely be patient and I'll wait for those games to be released. And I think you guys will also enjoy it, since those games are very good and very interesting. And one of them is crossplay, and one of them is already popular on this channel. So um, I think interesting times are ahead, and hopefully you will enjoy the content. I will definitely enjoy producing it, and and we will see how the games will turn out. Well then, slowly approaching the end of the first chapter here. I have to say, I have to say, the developers of this game did a fantastic job with the game, and even early on, I did notice, and I did pretty much see the potential of this game. And currently, we are seeing this game's exponential growth. Pretty much, there are more and more players playing the game every day, and the global version is also pretty much going to be created because of the sheer interest that this game did collect over time. And the game is not even like 1 year old, and they are already creating multiple servers. So that should tell us that they do have a lot of players. And of course, I think they did improve the servers a lot. I do not see the same disconnection problem that I did face a long time ago, and I think that's really good. That's a step into the right direction that I like. We did criticize them a lot for the servers, and they did improve them. So that's actually fantastic. That's a very fantastic. That's very fantastic actually. That's very fantastic, and looking forward for more of these servers being released. Now, I think I might play the Japanese version of the game. I am not 100% sure. I might, since I've heard that it will be uncensored. I mean, there are a couple of censors in the game, a couple of them, and I've heard the Japanese version will be uncensored. So I'll definitely check that out to see how that looks. Very curious to see what's changed, and hopefully, Dawn will get her back if you know what I mean, since I think that's the reason why she lost that, but we will see. And of course, there's cursing going on here in this game as well. One of the characters definitely yells and curses at you, so I think that's censored as well. So we will see if that gets uncensored in the Japanese version of the game. Well then, the boss battle. Finally, let's see how the boss will perform. Very curious to see if they changed the boss, since this boss can be tricky, especially it can be tricky, of course, if you're not careful. So definitely do not take all bosses as being easy. This boss is the easiest of the bunch, but of course it is not as easy as it might look. Well then, in a moment I'm about to fight the boss, and I think there will be a final cutscene, and then the chapter will end. This is pretty much the first chapter. I plan to rework chapter 1, 2, 3. I think chapter 4 will also be reworked. It also depends on the audio quality, since I know that back in the day I didn't record in such high audio quality as I do now. So I will change if I see if there is need to change the early on stages. I will, since I do want to deliver the highest possible quality that I can, and well, I am in the process of doing so. So hopefully you will enjoy the new quality that I will introduce into these videos. Well then, that was a very fast boss battle, I have to say. Okay, now on to the real thing. That wasn't the boss battle, but the boss battle will happen right now. Okay, well, the boss is enraged, I see. Perfect. Now let's take out the boss, shall we? Now let's see how fast the boss will die. I am very curious to see how fast I can kill it. Okay, there is the boss, and pretty much the famous arena. I like this map design a lot. It is very interesting. And well, not to my surprise, the boss died within one strike. Well, I should have taken a other unit, but well, doesn't matter. That was a fast boss battle, wasn't it? And of course, the boss got shut down. Oh well, GG to the boss. He was fantastic, and that boss is still very good in terms of combat practice and reflex practice. And of course, you can use the boss to pretty much train and test your structures on, since that boss is perfect for that. That boss is actually very perfect for that. And I do recommend that if you want to train, that you train on that boss, and of course you can train on other bosses, but if you want to test out your structure performance, you can definitely test it out on that boss in the try stages, since he is very powerful, and that boss is very interesting to fight, and it is a good training boss. All right, well, that was, I think, yeah, this is it for the first chapter. I do hope that you enjoyed. It is my pleasure to record this for you, and of course, it is my pleasure to pretty much record this and upload this in the new reworked quality, this time around the quality is definitely a lot higher than the first video than the first video of the first and second chapter. Definitely a lot higher than that, and it is my pleasure to deliver that. And of course, I hope that you enjoyed. And well, next time when I return, I will hop on the second chapter, and I will rework the second chapter, which will be very interesting, since the second chapter does offer and does give a lot of new stuff in the game, and of course it does give us a connection to the current event story that I'll be talking about when I play the second chapter, of course. Well then, with that being said, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and stay safe, take care, and I'll see you next time.
怖いんですか？じゃあもう少し付き合いましょう。